She used to laugh at every joke. Her eyes would light the room. Her smile, a dawn that always broke, dispelled the deepest gloom. She used to hold my hand so tight, as if she'd never leave. Her touch, a warm and gentle light, in which I could believe. She used to speak with words so sweet, each syllable to me a song. Her voice, a melody complete, that carried me along. She used to whisper in the dark, her secrets close to mine. We'd share our dreams beneath the stars, and stories of how we'll shine. I used to see her as the one who changed and left our love undone. But in the mirror, truth reveals it's I who left what once was real. Hello everyone, this is Nasrul Amin. Here I provide a brief analysis towards my poetry that I have made and performed under the title She Used To. The first one is the interpretation of the poetry. So here I'll give my interpretation towards my poetry stanza by stanza. Stanza 1. The stanza provides an image of a girl who was cheerful and had a very beautiful smile. She always laughed at any joke made by the writer. The imagery of her eyes, which lights the room, and her smile, which is depicted as a dawn, shows the beauty and naturalness in her laughter, as the girl really enjoys the time she has together with the writer while doing jokes. Stanza 2. This stanza shows an image of how close the relationship between the girl and the writer. So, in this stanza, it is implied that there was a feeling of comfort and trust between the writer and the girl. And it can be noun from the words a warm and gentle light here and believe. Stanza 3. So this stanza also strengthens the image of how close and nice the relationship between the girl and the writer. The girl used to speak to the writer with words so sweet. Sweet words here reflect the words filled with love. And the girl has a quite beautiful and pleasing voice. So the writer describe her voice as a melody. Stanza 4. This stanza also strengthens again the image of how close the relationship between the couple. So here, the girl used to whisper in the dark. Whispering in the dark represents the intimacy between the writer and the girl, and the story of how they will shine represents their hope for the future, in which they hope that they'll be always together. And the last stanza. This stanza tells the end of the story of the couple. So initially, here, the writer blamed the girl as she was the one who changed and left the relationship and left the writer. However, in the end, the writer realizes that everything is all because of his fault. So here the perspective is twisted and it reveals that the writer himself who did it, the writer himself who changed and left the relationship. Here we can feel a feeling of regret from the writer by considering the previous stanzas which describe how close and nice the relationship between them, between the writer and the girl, as if it's not real, if it's just the writer's imagination. However, their relationship was actually real, and the writer break it and he regrets. Next is about the content. This poetry is an elegy in which the writer celebrates or regrets about his broken relationship with the girl. And this poetry is written under the theme of love. And as for the general interpretation of this poetry, so it tells a love story between a couple, which are the writer and a girl. At first, they have a good relationship, but they end broken up. The girl used to be the one the writer loved, as the writer describes in the stanzas in the poetry how beautiful the girl, how pretty, how cheerful she was, and she has changed and finally leaves the writer. It is told that the girl has changed and finally leaves the writer. However, in the end, it turns out that the writer himself is the one doing that. The writer himself is the one who has changed and finally leaves the relationship and he regrets it. As for the structure of this poetry, so this poetry is written into 20 lines and the lines are divided into 5 stanzas. So each stanza has 4 lines and is classified into quatrain. I wrote this poetry using rhyme ABAB for most of stanzas and AABB for the last stanza. As for poetic devices used in this poetry, so actually there are quite lots of poetic devices here, but most of them are metaphor. So generally there are metaphor, hyperbole, symbol, and irony in this poetry. And the example of metaphor is the line, her smile, a down, that always broke. So here I compare between the smile and the down. And the example of hyperbole is the line, her eyes would light the room. As we have known that someone's size will never be able to light the room. Therefore, I consider this as a hyperbole. The example of symbol is the word down, which symbolizes hope and beginning of the day. And for the irony is revealed in the last stanza. So it is initially thought right that the one who has changed and break the relationship is the girl. However, in the last stanza, it reveals that the writer himself who actually changed and break the relationship. This is an irony. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.